The Hustleshare podcast is sponsored by One CFO, the Philippines' leading fractional CFO services provider for startups, scale-ups, and SMEs. Experience the power of tech-enabled, efficient, affordable, and expert-led fractional CFO services. Let One CFO handle your finances so you can focus on growing your business. Book your free CFO consultation today.
Things are a lot more complicated than they might look from the outside. I had to learn that the hard way with Fitness Guru because I had literally just had this company before. Same market, same price, same supplier, same everything. So I couldn't understand how if I replicate that one-to-one and do it better, I've just done it for a year, how come I don't see the same numbers? And that's where you can't, just because you have done it once doesn't mean you can do it again. So it's very good learning. It definitely humbled me a lot.
Welcome to Hustleshare, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Baetiong.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Share Podcast. Super duper exciting because we finally got this. We've been trying to get to this episode for a long time because there's a startup that you should all know about that I'm pretty sure if you didn't see it on your feed, I don't know what you're doing, but these ads are sticky. I see them at least 3 to 4 times a day. But we have the founder and CEO of And You, Mr. Emil Eriksen. Whoop, whoop. Welcome to the show, bro. Finally, we got this done. After several attempts.
Yeah.
We're finally here. Okay. Big fan of you. I remember our good friend, Roland Ross, who's been telling me about you. I think I first heard about you last year.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, you got to meet this new founder I'm working with, blah, 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 blah. And Roland, as I know him, does not literally, does not say that lightly. So when he gives me with that enthusiasm, that intro, I'm all ears and I'm super duper excited to meet you.
I think that's a huge compliment. I know Roland for a few years now.
Wow.
Great guy, super talented.
Yep. Super exciting. But again, I need to ask you the $1 million question. Emil, what's your hustle?
Well, you spoiled it already. I'm the founder of And You, a new telehealth platform here in the Philippines. We just launched a few months ago, actually.
Wow.
So it's brand new.
Nice. And why is it called And You? And I love the name, by the way, because ampersand you.
Yeah, there's not so much like bigger thought behind it besides that it's really a brand that is relating to pretty much anyone. Right now, we only cover like a few product categories, but later on we're gonna cover much more. So it's not a brand that is just for guys or girls or a specific age group. It's really everybody.
No, that's amazing. Now, again, before we talk about And you guys are doing an amazing job. I've seen and I've heard the numbers. So we'll talk about that in general. We're not gonna narc you out and say that what it is. But what I love about what you're doing is that you're doing it at ultra startup pace. Because that's what startups are supposed to be, high growth, right? You're not just here to raise a mom and pop, whatever brand. You're shooting for the moon and then some, right? Intergalactic travel, technically. But before we get carried away and do intergalactic travel, we need to go all the way back first and understand your origin story. Because we're going to have to ride the Hustleshare time machine. All right. And that's what I want to find out. So obviously, you came here just recently, but I want to find out your origin story. And every hustler has their own influence, right? And hustling is not taught by saying, it's taught by doing. 2 things I want to find out. What was it like growing up in Denmark? And who were your very first influences to hustling?
Okay, so all the way back, I think from very early on, I always had a tendency to like kind of find a somewhat creative way to get to my goal pretty quick.
Okay.
All the way back from school, I started with different businesses as not a business, but like kind of hustles as a kid.
Nice.
I think I had my first job at 13, which wasn't allowed before 15, but I kind of found a way to do it because I wanted to get started. So I had all these.
What was the first job?
It's normal in Denmark. You kind of start working like 13, 14.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's very mellow jobs. Maybe you help somebody to cut their grass, or I helped this guy I helped out on his farm. He had a lot of animals.
Okay.
So it's very different things. Then as we went to what for us is high school, I think I've probably been 16 years at that point. I, for some reason, got into the whole internet online space. I was very fascinated about it. There was like a few guys from my year back then. There was like these young entrepreneurs in Denmark, and they all did very, very well. So there was this tiny group you kind of wanted to be a part of, and you looked into it. And at some point, I remember these the electronic cigarettes back then. It was very new. This is 2010, 11, 12.
Right.
It started to come up. Nobody really knew what it was. It looked very fun. It looked like a cigarette back then.
Right.
But it was really used as a product to stop smoking.
Yes.
It is not today.
I was a chain smoker before.
Exactly.
So I tried it.
Today is more of a, I would say, replacement for many people. But back then it was really a product to stop smoking. And I noticed that they sold these for, I believe it was $100 in Denmark.
Wow.
And I checked online and saw that this was like $5 in China. And that was actually the start of the first business. So me and a friend of mine back then, we find out like how do we make a website. We used Shopify back then. It had just launched.
No way.
Nobody else had tried Shopify. Everybody was in WordPress or Magento. So we were in like this new thing. It didn't have any integrations because it was this brand new platform. I don't know how we managed to do it, but we got it up. No investors, no funding, no from the outside, just two guys and like online forums, figuring out how to code. And we hit it perfect. We hit it just in the sweet spot. So from day one, that one made profit. And like, to be honest, we weren't really good. Not at all. We were brand new. We barely knew anything about what we were going into. But because we kind of hit this luck the first time, it gave us some months to like, okay, we're in. Like, if we really double down now on learning how to run a business like this, we actually have a chance to make it. And we did that. Like we studied every single day. We did everything from customer service to packing the packages to learn purchasing and like everything. And really grew that business over time. So eventually we both dropped out of high school.
You're doing this in high school?
That is
absolutely crazy.
I think I was 17 at the point.
What?
I mean, suddenly the business got fairly big. Eventually, it became the biggest distributor of these electronic cigarettes.
And you guys were minors
in Europe. But it actually got very big.
Oh my God, that's amazing!
It was a very weird experience because you were sitting there as like 17-year-old and suddenly you had this business that was a lot bigger than what money you had ever been used to seeing.
Absolutely.
Both my parents are in normal jobs. My dad is a contractor. My mom was a nurse. So for me, these amounts were huge. I didn't come for money. So it was very difficult to kind of go from this normal school kid to like suddenly you actually ran like a very successful company. I would say.
I want to know two things because you're a rare breed. First of all, most people that try fuck it up right away. Right off. So when you come in and you get fucked up right away, your mindset's totally different because your confidence is down. You sputter along the way and you don't know where to go. What I love about you guys is, of course, you hit it on the spot. But first thing I want to find out is where does the drive come from? Because when you said that you've always had a propensity to get your goal pretty quick. A lot of people strive their whole life to try to get to a goal. And again, some people sputter off and whatnot. Everybody will be hit in the face anyway. But you said that very early on. You're doing this in high school. And the second thing I want to find out is that in high school, there isn't any solid foundation yet in terms of discipline or acumen, because you're a blank slate and you develop that early on. I want to find out where you're getting those, because again, this is where I've never heard this before, and I've been doing this for 6 years.
Yeah, for
Where
sure.
do you think that's coming from?
I mean, I think part of it comes from like who you are, of course, but I actually see it as an advantage that you don't have too much experience or education. I also, in general, prefer to hire people without too much experience.
Okay.
I feel the more often you know, the more you are limited.
Right.
And like to go into business, you need to be delusional to some extent. I mean, if you just look at the statistics, if you're gonna make it, it doesn't look good. So you need to really believe in yourself that like this is gonna work against all the odds.
Right.
And then I think, I mean, it's just about being persistent. Like you have to be absolutely obsessive, which I would say I am. If I set a goal, I can't sleep at night until it's done. Like you just continue. You want to win for like whatever it takes. And that's that was the shot we took back then. Like we got the chance and then we threw it all in. I mean, and it was fun. I remember I was sitting in class. I went to, in Denmark we have a few different ways you can go in high school. You can choose the, it's called normal way or whatever you would translate it to, which is, let's say, medical professions or more academic. Then you have the more business-sided, which is the one I went to. And then you have a ton of other, let's say, if you want to be a contractor or different things. But it was fun because they actually tried to learn us a lot about creating a business in that high school we went to. But when we then started this business, we found out that, okay, I had learned to do accounting for all these like $2 billion companies, but we were never learned how to actually create a company. So like all the studies you do is like, if you have 5,000 employees and you're going to do this, what are you going to do? But the actual process of creating your first company and doing your first VAT report and all this stuff, you weren't schooled at all. So that's kind of a fun process. And then once this business really started to grow, and it kind of became difficult to maintain both the study and the business at the same time. Wow! I actually talked with the head of the school. Okay. And I went down to them and explained to them, like, listen, I did now what it is you're pushing. So I need to get some special things here. So they allowed me to not come to school at all. Wow. So they actually treated me very special. Maybe they shouldn't to that extent, but it made me finish that second year. Nice. And then eventually I dropped out. Okay.
Now this is super duper interesting because what a lot of kids, they want to fit in, would want to. Like when they come through, like, hey, I want to fit in. I just like what everybody else. I want to be popular. I want to be with the girls. Normal kid stuff, normal teenager stuff. But you guys did that. Hindsight being 2020, real quick. Do you feel like you sacrificed that in order to get the head start that you got now, or do you feel like this was all worth it anyway?
You mean like sacrificing the social?
Yeah, like, the normal kid, teenage stuff, per se.
Definitely. But I've always been, I would say, at a different state in mind than most of my classmates. Okay. I was usually a few years ahead, I would say. So I skipped a lot of the stuff. I skipped the becoming a student and the travels they had and that stuff. But I didn't feel comfortable in it anyways. And when you make such a move early on, that's where things get very special, because suddenly you're 20 and all my friends were 45. Because like that's the people I related to. That was my neighbors. We kind of had the same financial situations. Wow. They were the ones you had like a big part of your life in common with. Right. I mean, of course, you're still a teenager. So you're like you're in a fun gap where like you don't relate to some people that on a lot of things, but on other things you do.
Yeah.
And like it's really hard to find somebody that's like kind of seeing the world and having the same issues as you do.
The majority of the time, you won't find it from your peers. Like for me, I was also started out late in your terms because you were doing this in high school. I was an idiot in high school. But I had to look out to get mentors because the stuff that I needed to kind of walk me through when I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur was not in school, was not in class, was not in my teachers because none of them were entrepreneurs. You have to find someone who's been there and done that as a real mentor. And that's what I want to find out from you. So you're young, right? And you said that you hit it right on the spot. Was it all through experimentation and self-learning, or did you get several mentors along the way? And if you did, what did they teach you?
I definitely got mentors along the way, but it was more later on. This first business was really just, it was a lucky strike the first time, and then we definitely executed. We worked so hard. We worked 16 hours days for years, like weekends, everything. We moved to Sweden when I was 17. I remember my mom still laughed at it. They were on vacation. And I called them and said, like, you're probably not going to like this, but I've decided I drop out and tomorrow I drive to Sweden.
What?
The reason for that was actually the space for electronic cigarettes back then was very difficult to run. Because there was a lot of push from both the tobacco industry and from the medical industry to take this down. Because of course you took a lot
disrupted the whole thing.
A lot. So for us to be able to continue the business, we actually had to relocate it to Sweden because we really got a lot of push from the Danish government. And if we didn't do it, we might not have had the business. So we pulled the plug and jumped in my mom. She had like a tiny smart car. This was the first time I was in Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. So like brand new, very young. And yeah, the week after we lived in Sweden.
Wow, that's amazing.
Then from there on, the business went on for, I think I was maybe there for 3 years.
Okay.
I think we had maybe 50 employees at the top.
What?
And we had physical stores in Spain, Sweden, Denmark, sellers around of Europe. We're actually supposed to bring Juul to Europe back then, if you remember Juul.
Juul, yeah, Juul.
It was really good at the peak. Then, unfortunately, long story short, internally, the partners... Everybody was young, inexperienced. That's the bad thing of hitting it right on the first time. You think everything you touch becomes gold.
Yeah.
We had to learn that the hard way. So I still got out of it and made some funds on it to continue business. But that company never really became what it could have been. It had it had the right time, the right metrics, and everything.
What's impressive when you start young, and let me know if you think this way too, is that if you get those wins, you just unlock a new level of confidence that even if you fail, you knew that you've been there before. Your little benchmark now is like, all right, I know what it takes to get here. That's easy. I can easily go next. Because same with me, my first startup, though it failed, ultimately was a nightlife app. So many mistakes, solo founder. I wasn't as lucky as you were. I worked hard too, but I fucked it up. And that's what I want to find out. What were the things you got right? You thought you got right in the first try? Because a lot of first-time founders, the numbers do not favor them. A lot of them fail. I failed too. I got lucky in my second one. I got my exit there. But first one, majority of the time is a bloodbath. And this is what hurts to see out here, especially in the Philippines. When first-time founders, I feel like, you know what? Yes, your MBA is, even if when you fail, you're going to be okay because now you know what it tastes, what it feels like to die. So you don't want to ever try again. But please don't stop. Try again. And when I see so many people who are high potential, try once and never try again, it's like, ugh. If you just would have tried, I would have bet on you if I had money. But I don't. But that's the thing. You got it right away, though. What are those things that you still carry on that you learned early on? Because, like, for example, I'm super impressed with how you got the margins right. You saw the retail price of the e-cigarettes and you know where to get it at $5 a pop. That's crazy. 100 on the 5, that margins is even with tariffs or whatever. Your margins are crazy. What are those things that you still remember that you did right that you still carry along now?
I mean, we hit the market timing, everything right, the competitive landscape, and this was a good time. Remember, this was like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
This was the time where Meta was still experimenting with advertising. It wasn't still available in many countries. This was like the time where you could, if you had a Facebook group, you could invite all your friends, and it was spreading like wildfire.
Yes.
And like everybody liked Coca-Cola, and everybody liked, like it was a different time.
Correct.
Where there was so many opportunities, and we were very young, so we acted different on the internet. I would say like there was this like big kind of period where you had all these established business that didn't get on the internet as quick as they should, and then you had some younger companies who had it all for themselves, and like this was really that time. I remember we were like number 1 in Google on the day of launch.
What?
Like it doesn't happen today.
Yeah.
And that's we really had we had a lot of sales on day 1 on making the site public, just because there was no real competitive landscape in that category. So I think that one we definitely got that right, but it was also easier for us. But then I'll say more the way we scaled it. We pushed it very, very quick. I mean, we not just doubled, we tripled the revenue year on year on year, and we didn't hire much. We kept our fixed cost very, very low.
Fundamentally sound.
We were, for 2 years in a row, we were actually the most profitable company in Sweden by profit margin. Not by number, by profit margin. But we came out with like 40% net profit, which is unheard of in a startup.
Yeah.
But we despite being young, we kept the cost low. I wouldn't say that is not from me. That my partners had great influence on that one, but it was a good learning for me to like really keep your cost low all the way through.
Absolutely. No, because at the end of the day, when you are a profitable business, not just profit, but also in the P&L and also in your unit echo, and cash flow is there, you won't need funding, because the best source of funding that you'll get is always going to be through sales. And you got that from day 1. So that's super duper impressive. Now let's take our first break. And when we come back, we will now talk about the next steps of what you did in your career, how you even got here in the Philippines, and obviously the start and the amazing, amazing start. Because now that I understand what you've done with Alexig, I kind of know that, this has been an MO before. Well, let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey hustlers, ever feel like your money's flowing in, but your profits are nowhere to be seen? Is managing your cash a constant source of stress, leaving you anxious about day-to-day operations? Or maybe you're holding back on growth because you're unsure if your finances are really stable. The real problem? You don't have a clear picture of your finances. Without a strategic financial partner, you're basically operating in the dark, always one step away from hidden pitfalls. But what if you had a seasoned fractional CFO who understands these challenges and gives you clear and straightforward steps to increase profits and grow steadily without the cost of a full-time CFO? That's what One CFO delivers. One CFO combines the strategic thinking of experienced CFOs with their own cutting-edge CFO tech platform, giving you transparent, real-time insights that empower you to make smart moves. They're the go-to fractional CFO partner for growing companies like Quick Insure, Avion School, J Labs, Advance, One Lot, Colorette, and Stash, helping them conquer financial challenges and achieve remarkable growth. Imagine having a crystal clear view of your financial performance and the confidence to execute bold, growth-driving strategies. Ready to level up? Click the link in the description or go to onecfoph.co. That's onecfoph.co right now to book your free no-obligation consultation. Gain clarity in your finances and grow your business with confidence. Click the link or visit onecfoph.co today.
And we're back from the break. We are still with Emil Eriksen, who I'm now a big fan of. How many people get to even do that? Man, you're that's 1 in a million type of stuff, because most people fuck it up. And when the first try, after they hit their face in the wall, they're done. They're out. But man, you got the timing right. They got everything right for Alexig. But again, all things come to an end. Well, after Alexa, what happened next, and what led you to getting to Fitness Guru?
So yeah, a lot of things happened in between. Of course, I got some funds out of Elixic. I left day to day, and I actually moved to Dubai. That was back
Dubai.
Before that, I lived a bit in Spain as well. It was this time I didn't really know what's next.
Okay.
I was still young. I'd probably been 20 at the point. Got some funds that I wasn't used to, and what now? So like
now you can catch up on being a guy.
It's really difficult to like leave your company because that was like your thing, and then okay, what are you gonna do? So now it was my time to taste that everything doesn't always go your way.
Yes. And you gotta do it because you're a guy. You have to do it.
You have to learn it. I threw money in whatever way I could find, like investments. Bought some apartments. I had a very big private spend, I would say, as well for a few years. I traveled a lot. I really went into all sorts of different things. Some investments turned out very well. Most didn't. I took on smaller projects together with friends, like business connects, but nothing was like really the next big thing. It was like, oh, what about this? Could this be fun? Or kind of develop some side for this, but it never really go live. Or it's like looking for something to kind of ignite yourself again. But I mean, the what I had gained from Alexi kept me running this year. So I had some room for a few failures. Then eventually I invest in it's a supplement company from Sweden. So these two guys, I can't remember how I got in touch with them, but very cool guys. They just had an idea. They hadn't built the website. They didn't know how to, but they were very, very fresh guys, like just great energy. So I put the check in and said, okay, I want to be a part of this. So I become very much like an active part with them. And this is the one called protein.se. Later on protein.com as well. But that got fairly big. I brought in an old friend of mine, Henrik, and he became part of it as well. So we were like both us as investors. I think I was probably there for like a year or two. The company was shooting up. Eventually kind of came to a stop because I was very active and I had only invested for 10%. And it wasn't, for me, it's not enough if I have to use my time on
more skin in the game.
Yeah, and the business was already getting big, so I didn't want to pay for it, what it was worth. So we all agree, like, okay, it is what it is. We had a good run. I still talk with the guys sometime.
Got it.
So I decided to leave, and then I acquired another supplement company 100% together with a friend of mine. And I was up front with them, told that this is what I will do. If not, I hope you understand. And like everybody was on good terms.
Yeah.
And that is then the Fitness Guru. So then I ran that for a few years. Fitness Guru is probably one of the hardest cases I've ever been sitting with. That was the first time I realized that to buy a brand, acquire something that has a lot of legacy, you have to be specifically good at some things. Like if you haven't done it before, I would never recommend it to anyone. We tend to like underestimate how much advantage there is in being the new brand. Because we have perceptions about brands from how they were before. Which is just like, is there in this kind of subconscious, I don't know what brands you have here, but you know that there were some brands that were like very big before and like basically
and then they fizzled out.
Got kind of overexposed. And then if you suddenly saw that brand today, no matter how cool of a product they have, it doesn't speak to you. And that was what we ran into. So this supplement company had been huge in 2010, 11, 12, 13. The biggest celebrities, the biggest numbers. They were really the hottest company in the country then. And then they had just lost a lot of revenue, traction because of internal fights. So when we scooped it over, it was so very cheap when you look at the brand, and that's what we thought. We're thinking, okay, we take over this like very established brand with the blue check marks and all the followers and all the celebrity content, but we had underestimated, like as soon as we started to run ads, everybody was like, what, are you still around? So it took really long, and we spent enormous amount of funds on it, where in the end we actually, it was definitely a big loss on the fund side. We had to actually sell that one with a pretty big loss end of the day, just to move on, because it just never stopped. It required so much cost to keep it running, and the potential upside it just went there. It was just a mistake that we actually acquired it.
I totally agree, because if there's a legacy brand, and we're sort of doing that a bit in Podcast Network Asia. Okay, this brand, the company and the brand are two different things. We were dormant for a while. But if we started from scratch with a brand new label or a brand with almost the same product but give it a different name, it would have a higher upside, especially in the algorithm, because we're talking about media.
Exactly.
Right? Apparently, what we found out is that the publishing platforms, Spotify, YouTube, penalizes you for being dormant. Even probably social media. That even if you spent ads on it, two things would happen. They would make you pay a premium just to revive that thing. And second, the backlash of like, hey, what happened to you? Now you have to explain that. But when we release a brand new label or a brand new product, still in the podcasting fame, Serie FM with Rexy, clean slate. Just by changing the brand up. Well, you can still apply everything that you've learned. But from the eyes of the consumers, this is a brand new thing. So totally understand. Now, after that, obviously, now is that's left a bitter taste in your mouth. What did that teach you? I mean, you got through everything, but what did that teach you as an entrepreneur?
That's the fun. Like as you said before, I think it really determines how your entrepreneurial life is gonna turn out, depending on when you get your successes and how you learn from all these failures. It sounds a bit cliche, but I mean, it really is true. I think for me, it was very, very important. I got that first success because every time I ran into tough times like Fitness Guru, I can tell myself I did this when I was 17.
Bingo.
You know? So you have that like one moment where you're like, I did that.
Yeah.
And you can always go back to it no matter how many times you do some mistake you wish you didn't do. You can tell yourself, I did that.
Yep.
But I've learned something very specific from every single time. I would say from the first business, Alexic, I learned from how important it is with timing. I learned the difference between having a product that people really, really want versus a product that you can sell. It's a big difference.
Correct.
So you see a complete different way of traction, and you can see it from early on. From I also learned how the importance of having a shareholder agreement, the importance of choosing the right partners.
Correct.
As soon as you see some red flags from any of your investors or partners, you have to find a solution right away.
Correct.
Because it's not going to go away.
Nope. Worse than marriage.
I learned the importance of having cash in the bank. Because especially in, let's say, regulated industry, which is, and US as well, because these industries change quickly. And along the way, there will be some chances of getting apart from your competition, but these require cash.
Correct.
And then from, let's say, Fitness Guru, the next bigger one, I definitely learned the one with brand. That brand value. I also learned that I am not in myself particularly good at building a brand. It is not really my strength. I'm much more in the business side of it and how to scale things. And I think also just that things are a lot more complicated than they might look from the outside. I had to learn that the hard way with Fitness Guru, because I had literally just had this company before, same market, same price, same supplier, same everything. So I couldn't understand how, if I replicate that one-to-one and do it better, I've just done it for a year, how come I don't see the same numbers? And that's where you can't, just because you have done it once doesn't mean you can do it again. So it's very good learning. It definitely humbled me a lot, Fitness Guru.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, okay, after that, what came next? Is this? I think you're now back in then, again, you were in Dubai for a bit, but I want to know the next steps and how you eventually created And You.
Yes. So in this period, I was in Dubai, Denmark, a little bit back and forth because we had an office in Copenhagen for Fitness Guru. But when eventually it came to an end, we could see, okay, we're never gonna turn this around. Find somebody that acquired it for minimal value. They actually never paid, I had to find something new. I think a friend of mine. They had just started a new project, which involved setting up a call center here in the Philippines. So this was under COVID, and like, what are you gonna do? and I took that on, and this was like, it was like, cause I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I was really a bit in debt after the one with Fitness Guru. I've blown all the money from Electric before, so I got a lot of experiences. I've been part of some very beautiful ventures,
right?
But I just hadn't found my next big one. And then I was like, you know what? Let me take this. I'm ready for something new. Now it's been this Dubai, Copenhagen for a few years. So I go here to the Philippines. It's like really just ready to see what's next.
Yep.
Plan to be here for a year only.
Okay.
But eventually, stick around, and at a time where I then see, okay, now I kind of build up my capital again. I made some right choices with investments, and then I was always preparing for my time to go big alone, because all previous ventures was with either 1, 2, 3 partners. So this was the first time that it would be just me.
Why so? Because most people, like for me, my first 2 tries, actually no, my first try, solo founder, failed like a motherfucker. I did all the mistakes you can do because I didn't know what a co-founder went like. Second, I had inactive, I mean, they call themselves co-founders, but they're not in there with the day-to-day. So it's good, but not quite there. On the third one, Podcast Network Asia, I had a co-founder. And once I tasted that, it's like, I'm never going to go alone again, ever. But here's complete opposite. Why is that?
Because it's tough to be solo. It's impressive if you do that in your first company. I think if you look at the statistics as well, the chances for
first-time founder and solo.
Yeah, no, but the chances for succeeding as a solo founder are very slim.
Yeah.
So I would recommend pretty much anybody to have partners. I think it's something that grows with your experience. I mean, at this point, I think when I started to get the feeling, I'd probably already been 10 years in the scene, and worked across continents, really built these teams, very, very big, from 0 to 100 people, and seeing things scale and also go down again. At some point, when you're really the smartest person in the room, the majority of the time, that is when I think you should start thinking about creating something that's just you. Because it otherwise, at least for me, it became this kind of grudge or this thing that if you're sitting at a company where you feel you're giving a lot more than, let's say you're sitting on a minority part, it's not worth your time. So
makes sense. Okay.
That was really my reason.
I love it. And basically you just built your whole cachet already. It's like, all right, I've pretty much done it all anyway, and I can do it again. I know what it takes. I've won, I've lost, and I know what it takes to go solo. But in the Philippines, what did you see? Because again, obviously, great things. I'm Filipino, so I'm biased. But did you see an opportunity to win here? Because there's other markets with higher spending capabilities,
For
better
sure.
whatever. But what made you see an opportunity to do business here?
I really love the Philippines. My girlfriend still have a hard time accepting that that I love it as much as I do, because like I think many foreigners included, they are not as fond of Philippines as I am. Like for me, it's perfect. I like it much more than Dubai.
There's also a lot of Filipinos there too, though.
Yeah, there's. When it comes to business here, I've tried a few different things, and I think I'm still learning. definitely a ton of opportunities, and you really have the market for yourself in many markets. I would say one thing I've learned recently is that you really have to go big, because my first thing I tried here, I kind of had the same mindset as if I were to start something in the US or in Europe. And you're not gonna like start a bank in Europe, or you're not like gonna start the new telehealth in US. It requires a lot of power, funds, like, because it's a very established market.
Yeah.
Here, you can think very big. Like, you can really, like, you'll be the number one podcast provider.
Yep.
Like, so, or if you want to go into betting, you should have like the number one bet store in the country, or like how, let's say, Rocket did with Lazada, or like you have to think that size.
Correct.
I think that's what makes sense. If you just wanna make like a niche store selling a specific type of T-shirts, I think the market might be tricky for that for me. Yeah.
No, sounds good. So with what you saw now, what did that lead to Andy and probably Kiva before that?
If you go to NU, I always wanted to go into telehealth. It comes all the way back from actually Fitness Guru, the first supplement. It was a supplement company. I remember that was back when it launched in the US. So if I remember right, it comes back from a FDA change back in 2017, where suddenly they allowed a specific schedule of medicine to be sold online. I think Hims were the first to do it. Then there's a few that followed. But I remember looking at this business and just thinking, that's genius. Like it's. I've always found it very weird why this access to medicine feels almost illegal.
Yeah.
I always found it very, very special. Like, why is it that if people need a certain kind of medicine, whether that might be ED meds or weight loss meds, why is it feels like you're not supposed to get it? Yeah. Like the whole medicine is developed to help you, you know? The answer to that, I think there's a mix of many things, but I just always found that so weird. So when I saw those telehealth things starting out and suddenly making you feel and explain you like why these things might be good for you and actually feel, okay, I'm supposed to get this and make a whole thing happen. It both created like a beautiful business, and you have a ton of happy customers that finally get what they need. So always been fond of it. While I'm then here in the Philippines, I suddenly start seeing more and more, I wouldn't say the model we wanted to build, but more and more providers going online. It was mostly smaller clinics that, let's say, sold it over Instagram or WhatsApp, and there's a few what is now competitors that were definitely active before us for a year or a year and a half. And the space was there, so I started to see it. But I also felt there was space for a lot more. Absolutely, they kind of scratched the surface for what telehealth is. That's where we saw room for one more.
No, absolutely, and wide open. I've seen it thrive. I've seen winners and whatnot, but it's not a zero-sum market. It's huge, absolutely huge. I've seen feeble attempts at trying to do it and flop right away. I've seen bigger companies do it, but again, this client, this whole industry that you're tapping into is untapped. Nobody's a clear winner here, and that's what it is. But other than that, so you now have conviction over you wanting to do a solo startup, and now you have the telehealth as a path. My last question before we take our last break, I want to find out, what was the lowest hanging fruit you had to attack? Because it's such a big market and you can go in so many fronts, but...
You think about NU, the lowest... I mean, we went straight for... it's mainly weight loss. We're doing the most of right now.
Why is that?
I would say it's where the need is the most.
Too much rice, bro.
It's been a bit delayed here with the whole Ozempic semaglutide thing. It's been huge in the rest of the world for many years now. but it's really only within the last 6 months I've seen it explode in the Philippines. But one thing I noticed is that most people get these products from like really black market. The black markets thrive in the Philippines more than I've ever seen on Reddit, on marketplaces, all these things, which it might be safe meds, it might not be, but we kind of wanted to fill that gap. So put a real brand in between, where we stand up for the testing. We make sure everything is 100% safe and can guide with doctors, so you don't have to buy through a friend.
You won't be the guinea pig.
You are not sure what comes out. I'll say majority of the time it probably is okay, but I'm not sure if you want to risk when it comes to your health. So that's really where we saw the biggest need for this. But it will expand a lot. We're already now deploying new categories. We'll go big into longevity. Big interest of mine. We're gonna expand into a blood test. And just in general, more testing, I would say. And also more in the health, diet, everything preventive instead of treating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, now let's take our last break. And when we come back, we will talk about NU and how they were able to raise and scale up so fast because of what Emil just said. Let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey, hustlers, before we resume the episode, let me tell you a very quick secret. Do you guys ever wonder how we're able to consistently release episode after episode here in Hustleshare without missing a date over the past 3 years? Well, it's not just pure hustle, because I'm also running my podcast along with me running my startup full time. Now, for some of you who have listened to this podcast, you guys very well know that I created a startup that is designed to help the best podcasters in Southeast Asia to realize their full potential, which is called Podcast Network Asia. And over the past couple of years, we've achieved quite a lot in P&A, helping hundreds of podcasters create world-class episodes consistently. However, what we realize is that we are not really solving the real problem of all podcasters in the world if we're not going to productize the thing that we're very good at, which is helping podcasters solve the two main pain points of a podcaster, which is number one, nobody really likes to edit their own show. Especially if you're listening to your own voice. Just like me, I cringe a lot. Having to listen to my voice for 3 to 4 hours just to release a 1-hour episode. It's no fun. And then the other thing is that most podcasters, just like me, are absolutely clueless on how to properly grow their show, which is something that we have perfected in Podcast Network Asia. So we've decided to put this all in one product that helps any podcaster in the world create world-class shows that people will love and will continuously grow. And that's why we created PodMachine. PodMachine is the most affordable podcast subscription service that helps you with your podcasting needs. We've got everything from audio production, crafting designs, and marketing and growth support. So as a podcaster, you can now just focus on the thing that matters the most, creating great content for your listeners. So if you are an existing podcaster or someone that actually wants to create their podcast now, no need to worry. You got a founder's discount by listening here on Hustleshare. So sign up now at podmachine.com. And aside from the free trial that you're going to get as a new user, I'm throwing in another one free edit as soon as you sign up for just as low as $49.99 USD a month to start creating a consistent and world-class podcast. Again, that's podmachine.com and use the code Hustleshare to get your founder discount. So if you have friends that are podcasters and if you want to have a podcast just like this, y'all know what to do. So just go and talk to you guys in PodMachine.
And we're back in the break. We are still with Emil Eriksen, who then told us the amazing journey. So again, wins, losses, startup life is really just a journey of ups and downs, right? No matter how much you think you've been there, there's always something that humbles you. And that's what I want to find out first. Okay, the Philippines, great opportunity. There's no clear winner. Or if there is, there's enough space for multiple clear winners. I don't know what that looks like. But is there something that you did not see coming while executing here of that you find that, okay, this is something new that I've learned recently?
I didn't see coming at all that the dream of mine to run a telehealth company would happen in the Philippines. I would never ever have guessed that. Yeah, now we're here, and like it's a more interesting opportunity than I think I've ever had. I don't think Philippines surprised me so much anymore. I mean, I've been here 4 years, so I kind of got used to how things are here. There's good things, there's bad things, as there with any country.
Yep.
You definitely have to adjust on a few things. I think from my standpoint, probably more the way you do leadership.
Yeah.
Because in Europe, we're used to doing a very flat structure.
Yep.
And
here it's very
here
top down.
People need hierarchy. Like, because if I give people a lot of freedom without first telling them, they actually prefer to get told what to do and how.
Yeah.
So that has kind of been a balance, because I think I still try to like kind of help them think out of the box.
Yeah.
And come with these ideas and do these things. So I think that has been an interesting learning.
Yeah.
But it's getting more and more smooth, I would say.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is talking about the team, right?
Yeah.
You said that you need to get the team, but what type of team did you need or did you assemble as a solo founder in order for you to achieve the super fast growth? And we can talk about that in a bit, but what type of team did you assemble to help you out here?
So I really started from the scratch. I was when I learned that, okay, we can do telehealth here. First of all, I started to really get rid of any other business I had initiated.
Oh, you went all in?
It was a tough decision, because
Wow.
I was a lot of money deep in the other businesses we had created, and it was just starting to turn a profit. But there was a long time until I would get my investment back.
Right.
And this I'd been working on for more than a year at this point. There were a lot of smaller brands we had created, which were doing well, but I had put in a lot of funds to it. I just knew this project is too big to get run as some little side gig together with the other brands. So either we take a bet or it's not going to work. So this was initiated already, I think, end of last year. And I also knew that I needed to put together the best of the best of the best. So
Of course.
I really handpicked from all the previous teams, previous companies. I had 2 people from Denmark.
I flew them in.
I worked with previously, fly down, that joined the team, Roland. Multiple other people here, like that each covers like different strategic fields,
right?
And just really build this like top of the line team from top down, from customer service to lead to finance to all the way around. It's the best of the best people,
right? But again, you cannot get the best of the best people and also get the best of the best output if you did not have the best of the best strategy to get that out of them. What's your strategy in leadership? Because again, you mentioned you had to adapt to this hierarchical structure of how people work here, but obviously the results speak for itself. What's the advice that you can give in getting the best and executing super fast in order to get the results that you guys got at NU?
I think in general, I trust employees a lot, but also because I hire people I like genuinely respect.
Okay.
So if I hire somebody that is gonna handle our, let's say, email marketing, I'll hire one that I know is gonna do this better than I can.
Got it.
So it will not go in and like totally micromanage them on a day-to-day. I will definitely help oversee it. But I think that thing in general people like because they get access to the best tools, they work with the best people, and we have a very good vibe here at the office.
Nice.
People stay until 10 p.m.
That's why I love coming here.
Yeah, no, but they stay until 10 p.m. They maybe have a glass of wine at night together. They hear a bit of music. They come in again 8 a.m. So they really crush it right now.
Love it. I love it. Okay, now again, I kept talking about it earlier. there's hyper growth that you're doing, and you're shooting for intergalactic travel out here. Walk me through the journey of how because you're less than a year old with NDU. How did you unlock that market, and walk me through the month-on-month growth that you guys are going, and eventually how you're able to raise?
Yeah, I mean, we're really only 3 months old, right? I mean,
Yep.
we started in 1st of April.
What?
And even then, nothing worked. Like the reason we were able to, I would say, launch that quick was because I already built the office. I already built from my other company, the one I then ditched. So we already had the best people. We already had developers. We already had a really strong foundation. So in the start, we kind of treated it as a new brand, but we already knew that this was gonna be the company. So it helped us really get out quick. I think we really built the whole company in less than 30 days because we had all software, we had everything ready. And then I think, again, as we talked about before, just all the learnings come in. I could see this moment is a very full circle time for me, this project, because all those learnings from before, it's the right time, as we did with Alexic, the first one. Yep. It's the same traction we're feeling. It's the same competitive landscape, I would say. Our competitors, there's none of them that are really threatening. They're both going in different ways and not the way we're going. And I am making sure to not do any of those mistakes again. I'm getting sure every single partner getting in, every single employee getting in is somebody that benefits this company and will pave the way for growing this to the size I want to grow it to. And when it comes to the execution part, I think that's where it's a deep regret, probably the biggest in my whole career, when I look back at this Alexic and think that company could have been $1 billion. And I promised myself, if I ever get that chance again to hit something so clean, you run. Like you don't stop. You just run until it's done, because those chances don't hang on the trees. Like for me, it's probably been 10 companies since you saw that level of traction and you had the market, it was paved out, like everything just kind of falls into place. It's rare it happens. So you gotta run when you get the chance.
Absolutely. And it's wide open. You can definitely do it. But walk me through how you were also able to unlock the funding so quickly. Because when I heard you guys were funding, like, what? It's closed. And you guys were over some stuff, like, what? That doesn't make sense. How were you able to get it done?
So it's actually the first time I've ever gotten funding.
What?
I have never, to be honest, I was probably looking a bit down upon it before because I didn't know.
Because you knew how to make money anyway through sales.
because my first company made profit. So I have only been used to making profit companies.
Right.
And whenever I started something new, I put in or we put in or it was only internal funds. And if ever you did an investor, it was a friend. Like I've never done valuations, never done any of that. And I think it kind of comes from that. I know we had companies that were sitting and making a lot of money. And then we see this other company that is like 10 times smaller than us. And then they raise funds at some, for us, ridiculous amount at that point. So that's why we're like, what is that world? It's so stupid. Right. But then when starting to build this, I realized that there's a lot of pros in doing this, especially for this company, because it is an industry that is going to move extremely quick. Right. All our competitors have done massive funding rounds, like massive. So if you go into this one, no matter how good of a company we build, if they have $10 million in the bank and you have your last 200K, they're going to win. I mean, they can smoke you out. For sure. So that was actually the main reason. And that's why I really advised with Roland. That has been kind of guiding me through how to do that. Yeah.
And that's like going to war. You can't go to war with chopsticks. Exactly. If everybody has bombs.
That's the thing.
Right? So and that's amazing. And I'm super excited. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last time we're going to be talking to you, because I just wanted to, be the one to pop the cherry. But let's talk about the immediate future. So you talk about Ozempic as one of the primary products. It's wide open. What are the things? Because I'm being retargeted by your hair growth stuff, bro. I do this on purpose. I really cut my hair out because it gets really, really annoying and itchy at the side. But the way you do customer acquisition is super sticky and super duper impressive. But what are the products that we should be looking out for in the next coming months before this goes to the moon?
So we right now we're actually still staying a bit quiet. The main reason is that I do not wanna get known as let's say a company that just sell Ozempic, because that is really not what we do. Right now, yes, but our plans spans much wider.
Yeah.
And from next month, we're gonna start to launch these. Without saying too much, we're gonna go a bit into mental health.
Ooh.
We have this one-of-a-kind early detection cancer test.
What?
I'm not sure if you heard about it. It's from Palo Alto, I believe.
Okay.
And there's very few labs in the world. There's one in Singapore, there's one in UAE, and one in Palo Alto that can do this test. So it's a single 10 milliliter blood draw, which will actually make you able to discover cancer in stage -1.
No way.
So that means that, let's say, especially when you get older, if you maybe do this once a year or every second year, it's a bit of a pricey test,
right.
But then you can catch cancer very, very early on.
Before it's even there.
Yes,
yeah.
But the thing is, it is there. So if this one see it, you do need to get treatment. Then some people might not feel comfortable about knowing, but the idea in getting this test is that you really increase your
chances
rates from like 30% to 100% or like 90%.
Yeah, correct.
Because let's say some types of cancers, like I can't remember which ones, but let's say there are some types of cancers where you typically get like pancreatic cancer. That one, typically, whenever you discover it, it is already in stage 3 or 4. So it is very, very hard to treat.
Correct.
And this test can help you with that. So that's one of the things. But we have much more coming. We have big on longevity. We have a whole testing facility that is coming up, like a brand new way to kind of treat your annual testing. We are looking into brick and mortar as well. So it's gonna be much more healthcare in general, kind of in a new take.
That's amazing, right? And before I let you go, I want to understand your advice. Of course, we can't go to Hustleshare without paying it forward to our other founders who want to follow suit. But I want to understand your advice in executing and validating ideas. Because you've done this a gazillions of times, right? A lot of them didn't. Some of them worked, right timing, right everything. But some of them also did not get the same access. But now, knowing what you know now, what would be your advice for validating an idea into turning that into a startup?
I would say my best advice would really be to don't get attached to anything. Because ideas come and go, trends come and go, business come and go. I was very lucky to have this early success that has been my thing to hold on to whenever they didn't succeed. But I think most successful entrepreneurs, like, you need a certain set of experiences, and some people are able to get that very early on.
Yeah.
Which I was lucky, as I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And then the later you start or the slower you execute, the longer it will take you to get that set of experiences.
Correct.
That you most likely need to hit a home run. So best advice would just really be to just keep going strong. Like it will come eventually, whether it's going to be the first one or the third one or the fifth one.
Yep. Just persist.
Who knows? But like the quicker you get through it, the quicker you're going to get there.
Okay, and what I love about you is that you've learned how to diversify. A lot of founders, if they get a little more liquid, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. They start betting into high risk startups right away. And next thing they know, they'll start talking in groups like, bro, all of my investments in the other startups, none of them got back. It's like, dude, why did you go startups right away? You knew how volatile this shit is, right? But what's your investment strategy? Because you said you made a couple of good investments that kept you afloat, that allowed you to still recoup even if you didn't need funding.
I never invest in things I don't understand. I definitely missed out on a lot of that because like I never felt I really understood Bitcoin. So
same. It's a regret that I have until now.
Like I mean, never really like why exactly do I need this? I never really saw the need for it. I would say now I'm starting because I see the idea with AI and Bitcoin, but that means I've never really done a lot of investing. I've invested in my own things every time. So if it's something I understand and I know I'm good at, I'm not a brilliant investor, but I know I'm a very good entrepreneur. So for me to put, let's say, 10K or 50K in someone else's project, I think there's a higher chance it will work if I put 50K in my own and find somebody to run it.
Yes.
And that's typically the way I've done things.
Okay. Last question before I let you go. What's your advice with the roller coaster of emotions that entrepreneurs go through? You know, it can get crazy. And you did it very early. I don't even know how you were able to pull it off at such a young age. Because in my 20s, I was not even healed. When the highs got really high, yes, I'm high. But when the lows are low, oh my God, it crushed me. What's your advice? Because it never...
It's tough.
Yeah.
I would say I still have it. Like within the last, I would say 6 months. I mean, I've had multiple times where you're just laying and thinking like, man, you're the biggest flop in the world. I mean, it happens to everyone. Like, and I don't think there's like one good advice. Like I think for it always helps to it goes away, you know. And I think the most important thing is just to like always remember that this is how it is. This is the whole enjoyment of it. And I've multiple times tried where you then come up and you don't feel like this anymore, and the money keep rolling in, and the numbers are the same as last month plus 5%. It is not fun anymore, and you're gonna miss those nights. Yeah, like because this is actually what makes the whole travel. Correct. You're sitting one night and thinking you're gonna lose everything, and your girlfriend is not gonna want you because you can't afford the house anymore. And then the day after, when the funding pops in, I mean, you're all over the place, and this is what makes the travel. Correct. So I think just kind of learn to somehow enjoy both sides, no matter how hard it is.
I love it. All right. Again, before I let you go, invite people over. What's next for NDU? And if they want to work with you or buy your products, where do the people go, and how do they do that?
I mean, they go to ndu.ph for now. We are working on apps as well, but it'll be a little while before it launches. But for sure, they're gonna see us around. We're gonna start with big campaigns and some events and engagements soon. So we're gonna be around.
All right, Emil, thank you very much. But before I let you go, follow us on whatever podcast app you're listening to, whether Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And if it did say some jargon, it's going to be the show notes on hustleshare.com. If you also want to be one of the supporters of Hustleshare, just like our sponsors that allow us to create great content like this, please do subscribe at premium.hustleshare.com. Again, Emil, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.